So if you've been with us, we here at WTF, we are going through the 21 different regions of the state. We've been going in alphabetical order. We might switch that up from time being, but for now we're going to keep that trend going. And today we're headed down south from where we are at in Louisville, Texas. We're headed down to the Brazos Valley. And what a better person to bring in than a new face down there in the BCS area, and that is Miss Nicole Griffith. She's a sports reporter down at KBTX. Nicole, how are you?
Hi, Ashley and Mallory. I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing
Good.
well. Thank you so much for hopping on with us today. A big thing that we like to do on the show is let people tell them a little bit about themselves. So I know there's a little bit of South Dakota mixed in there, a little bit of Nebraska mixed up in there. So give me an elevator pitch. How in the world do you end up in Bryan College Station?
That's a good question. So I like that you prefaced it, new face. So I want people to remember that, that I'm pretty new here. I'm a Midwest kid. I just moved here less than a month ago. And
Oh, wow.
I started last month at KBTX, and this is my third TV station, and I started in South Dakota, where I'm from. I'm from the west side of the state, so over by Mount Rushmore, people know it
Nice.
as. And then I've spent the last almost 3.5 years in Lincoln, Nebraska, covering the Huskers and then high school football in Nebraska. And so I wanted to make a change, wanted to mix it up, wanted to move to the hottest place in the country. And
That's for
so
sure.
I moved to Texas, and I've been here for this is my fourth week, and I had SEC Media Days my second week.
Ooh,
So,
nice.
I've just been thrown right in.
We've had our fair share of media days, that's for sure.
No kidding. And man, you are not wrong that you decided to pick the hottest place, especially at the hottest time. So
Yes, they keep telling me that this is the hottest week, So I think that it's just hot.
I will tell you that late August is the hottest
Yes.
week. So we are not even in the thick of it yet. So brace yourself. But a big howdy, a big welcome down to Texas. We're excited to have you here in the great state with us. Obviously, you grew up in, like you said, South Dakota, and then you get some really good football there in Nebraska. People talk about it all the time across the country, no matter where you are, that Texas high school football in particular is king in just the short amount of time that you've been able to be here. And obviously you've been around A&M a lot now, and you've seen the glory that's Kyle Field and all of that. How excited were you? And really, what were you thinking when you got down here and saw just how big high school football in particular really is in your new area?
Yeah, you hear about it growing up all the time, and like Friday Night Lights and Texas high school football and Texas, everything's bigger in Texas, Texas this, Texas that. And now just like putting myself into that, like I knew, or I think I know what I'm signing myself up for, but maybe talk to me after the 26th, after the season opener, and maybe we can reconvene what I think I'm signing myself up for. But you just hear like moving here, so I had SEC Media Days the second week, and then the third week we had high school football media days. The Eagle, the newspaper here, hosts it. So we talked to 27 teams in 4 hours, and it's just really like get it, like, all right, what's your name? Where are you from? Like, and I just asked the questions. I'm like, I'm new to the area. What do you want us to know about you? And that kind of just helps open the conversation, that they can just kind of have a first impression and give what they think, instead of going off of like, well, this is what happened last year, how are you planning on doing it this year? And so it's 27 teams in 4 hours just in the Brazos Valley area, and there's 11 classes of football, plus I'm learning the lingo, the taps. And there's another one that I'm forgetting that starts with a T, but Nebraska had 6 classes, and then South Dakota probably, oh man, I'm from there and I should know this, but probably under 6. So now I'm coming here, and it's the goal is to get to Cowboy Stadium, and that's really exciting. And like I said, I know I signed up to come to cover high school football. I don't know what I'm really signing up for.
Well, buckle up and get prepared, because you're about to see some of the absolute best high school football that you've ever seen in your life. And you brought it up, the goal, and you obviously know this. You just get here, and every person tells you, what is the goal? Well, it's to make it out to AT&T Stadium, to Cowboy Stadium in Arlington at the end of the year. And the region that you're in, I mean, there are teams that traditionally, and especially in the past couple of years, really looks like they could end up back there again with College Station. You have, Franklin in that area, the defending 3A Division and 2 state champs. How exciting is that for you to realize, hey, like there's a really good shot on a couple of those different classifications that you could be covering football in AT&T Stadium and we could see you there in December.
Yeah, I don't think the season is going to be wrapped up by Thanksgiving. I think we're going to keep playing through all the way into December. And that's exciting, like coming from Nebraska and South Dakota. And it's just kind of wherever you're at in your market. You want your hometown area teams to do well because that's who you're going to follow into the playoffs. Like once your teams are out, I mean, you're not going to go up there to cover like a North Texas team playing at Cowboy Stadium. So that's what's so exciting is you're just making more availability and more opportunities to be able to cover it, like having more teams that you're able to cover to hopefully get there. And you mentioned College Station, and that's one of the teams that I'm really excited to get to know and talk to. I met them at media days and just kind of talking with my boss is here and I'm kind of getting I have your magazine. I'm reading that. I'm learning all of the information about high school football and College Station. They lost last year in overtime on a 4th and 1. So it's just like how heartbreaking is that. So I know that they're really hungry to get back there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we were at that game and watching it, and man, that was the best game of the weekend down there. But yeah, I can only imagine that Coach Pryor is going to have that team loaded up and ready to go since he was a guy that had been around the program there. I do have a question kind of moving into the 2022 season. Like you said, you were able to ask 27 different teams kind of what they're looking forward to, and I love the strategy that you took to do that. But if there's one storyline that you kind of got from those media days that you think that when people around the state of Texas look at the Brazos Valley and they hear, what storyline are you looking for? And maybe it's very much College Station.
Yeah, that kind of the low-picking fruit College Station, right? They want to get back there and they want to, but they have to they have a new the quarterback situation. I feel like that's always a question if you don't have a returner. And College Station has to replace Jet Huff, who's now at the University of Houston. But they have Marquise Collins, who's coming back, and he's a beast at running back. And that's what I'm told, right? Like I've seen highlights, haven't covered it yet. Talked to him at media days, but the one thing that I would point on for down here is we're dealing with a lot of head coaching changes. So we have 8 schools of the 27 have new head coaches.
Wow.
So it's going to be maybe new styles, maybe new, offensive, attacking, defense, how the formats are, so it's just going to be interesting that maybe ways that, how Brian High used to run the offense. Well, their tenured head coach retires last year, and now Ricky Tullis is there. How's he going to run it? So maybe the storyline this year is just how are these teams going to look with so many new head coaches?
And Nicole, you kind of already mentioned it in Marquise Collins, probably one of the best running backs in 5A this year. But let's transition into players. What are some players that you want to put on people's radar this coming season? You can just name a couple right off the bat that you've already studied maybe coming into the 2022 season.
Yeah, so studying as best I can is pretty close to the BCS area. So Bryan College Station, we have 6A, Bryan, and then Rudder College Station and A&M Consolidated. And then obviously so many more schools. And I'm still new to the area, but the work that I've done, I want to Will Hargett, he's at Consol. He was a true freshman. They're in high school. He was a freshman last year, and he's gonna be a sophomore quarterback. So how is he gonna fit in? Is he gonna? It's like you don't want to compare him to college kids, but is he gonna take a step back? Is he gonna keep doing well? And then also Marquise Collins, he might be. I've heard around his name, he might have the most yards this season by a rusher.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of great players in that area. But I want to ask you next, Which game, or it could be a rivalry game, are you most excited to pay attention to this season?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I feel like I'm just a broken record, right? Haven't seen any of them yet, but I'm very excited to get to see them. And Consol and College Station are renewing their rivalry. They haven't played in a couple of years. So we used to have, I'm told, right? All the schools in BCS used to all be in one district, which is awesome.
Yeah.
For a coverage standpoint.
Not a lot of driving at that point.
Yes, you know, it's going to be just like inner city, cross city rivals. But then Bryan moves up, and then the districts change, and the lay of the land kind of changes. But a couple of the rivalries, from top to bottom, you know, you got 6A all the way down to 1A. But Consol and College Station renewing their rivalry, so it's called the Same Town Showdown. And then Franklin and Hearn, they don't play this year, but that's the battle of Highway 79. Only 12 miles separate the two towns. And then you have Snook and Somerville, and then all the way down to St. Joseph and Allen Academy down in 6-man. So up in Nebraska, I covered 6-man, South Dakota, not 6-man South Dakota, but Nebraska 6-man. And so, you know, I'm excited to cover 6A all the way down to 6-man. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're on the football field, I'll be there.
Well, and that's perfect, because that kind of led me into my next question is I didn't know, had you seen 6-man football before? So obviously you did get a little bit of that in Nebraska. How does that compare? Or does it look the same as it did in Nebraska?
Yeah, so there was only one 6-man team that was in Lincoln, that we covered pretty regularly. That was kind of their beat reporter, because they played at 4:00 because they didn't have lights.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That makes it difficult.
So they Parkview Christian, shout out my Patriots. They don't have lights because smaller school, not as much money, and so they would always play in the afternoon. And so I'd always go there, and then I'd hit up like a 7-8 o'clock game afterwards. And, one thing I learned about 6-man is you don't have to be there very long.
Yep.
They would
usually
score.
If they're good. One team's good.
My boss is like, yeah, you're going to be there for like maybe 2 series. Get both touchdowns and then come back. But, I could stay there for the whole half if I wanted to. So I'm familiar with 6-man. Sometimes I think people think like, oh, do you know what 6-man is? And it's like, yes, I know what it is. I've covered it. So.
Yeah, it's a nice little like chips and salsa to the main course there. That's what you're looking at when you get to 6-man ball with no lights. So that's too funny. And like you said, you're new to the area. We end up being down there in BCS pretty often throughout the year with 7-on-7 and coaching clinics and stuff like that. But I do have to ask, especially because people, when you get a new job, people always tell you like, oh, you got to try here, you've got to try here.
Oh, you're not kidding.
And you're like, guys, I got to stop eating out for a minute. Like, we need to reel this in. But in the times that we were down there, have you found a spot down there in the Bryan College Station area that you would recommend for people to eat at?
Well, I probably wouldn't recommend this, but I would recommend it, but not where we would go. I had Whataburger my first trip here.
There we go.
Yep.
They took me there, I requested it. It was my interview lunch meal. And they're like, you want Whataburger? And I was like, yeah, I'm from the Midwest. I got to go there.
I got to try it.
But I would probably say, have you been, so there's the Century Square, and there's just a bunch of restaurants there, and Juanita's, the Mexican food down here. They told me the food was good, but it's so good. I love it. So Juanita's had the best chicken enchiladas I think I've ever had.
Very nice. Very nice. Where did we go last? Cilantro? Is that where we went? I thought that's what
we
it was
went
called.
We went to some Mexican restaurant when we were up there for, I guess it was 7-on-7.
7-on-7. I think it was Cilantro.
We'll
look it up and let you know. So we'll add to this fuel of all the fire of people telling you where to eat. But we're very glad that you did Whataburger, and hopefully you enjoyed it. But she is Nicole Griffith. She is the news sports reporter down there at KBTX in the Bryan College Station area. You can follow her on Twitter at Nicole Griff _, correct?
Yep, that's it. My whole name can't fit on there, so it's only 15 characters.
So. There we go. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us again. Welcome to Texas, and we hope to see you out at some high school football games this year.
Thanks, ladies. Have a good rest of your show.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you. There she goes. It is Nicole Griffith, the sports reporter from KBTX down there in the Bryan College Station area. If you are down there and you see Nicole, make sure to give her a nice Texas welcome. We always love when people come down here to see the phenomenon that is Texas high school football, and she sounds like she's going to enjoy herself very much down there.
I'm so glad she's tried Whataburger already.
Oh, that's
That makes
great.
me
I mean,
happy.
yeah, if you're going to go in and know for a fact, like, hey, we're going to, well, okay, here's the other thing. That's like really, that's a smart way to sell yourself in
for
a
sure.
good way, because you go, hey, I'm going to go to lunch with these people in College Station, Texas, in the heart of Texas that I want them to hire me. You have to eat what, you know,
They eat.
yeah, exactly.
What
Like
we
you got to
eat.
show, you know
Yeah.
what, Texas pride, and there is no people that love Texas pride more than people down there in Bryan College Station. So
Yeah.
very, very smart by Miss Nicole.
Yes, absolutely. Also, my brother's moved to Colorado, and I got all of his Whataburger gift cards. So I've got like $150 to Whataburger. So
Let's
we got to go to lunch there.
Go.
Also a proud sponsor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Yeah, I still haven't tried they have a spicy honey butter chicken biscuit. I
Yeah.
haven't tried that. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.